Hello, in this short video, I'm going to talk about multi-plot pagination in the location module of RoadEng's. So I have a design here. We've got a more or less finished design. I'd like to create some output. I'm going to just click on the multi-plot window down in the lower left status bar there, and I've got a blank multi-plot. So I'm going to start with a page that comes from our web library. Let's choose size B. And this one here. Doesn't really matter for what I'm about to do, except that I need something with a plan and a profile and a data window. Now this is set up to page, let's take a look. Right click on the chapter, pagination options. You can also get that from the multi-plot ribbon, pagination. And it's set to page using the plan or profile width with a 10% overlap. And that's what the pages look like. The first one's nice. It starts at 1000. That's my first station. And then after that, they're kind of random. Well, they're not random at all. They're well defined, but they are not even numbers. Okay, so looking through the pages, we've got all the pages we need. There is an overlap, but the start station and the end station are not rounded numbers. And the first page starts right at the edge of the graphic there. There's no gap. Here's what I think is better. Oh, but one good thing about this method, if you make your windows narrower or wider, it automatically adjusts the number of pages necessary by changing the page size. Let's undo that with Control Z. Now I'm going to go back to pagination. I propose a different way of doing it. When you have Use Plan or Profile selected, the width of the smallest of the two is shown here. Turn off overlap, set it to 0, go to Fixed, and now let's choose a page width that's a nice round number, but smaller than the width of the window, which was just under 300. So now we have 1000 to 1250, 1250 to 1500. Let's see what that looks like. Well, it added an extra page. Let's get rid of this chapter. We don't need it. So page 1 now has a gap here. The 250 meters of stationing is set right in the middle of the profile here. Page 2, same thing. 1 plus 250 is a little ways in from the edge, and 1 plus 500 is a little ways in from the edge, and so there's overlap on both ends. Of course, the plan window lines up, and the reason for that is because the plan options have the same scale as the profile in the horizontal dimension. So that's my recommendation. In your pagination, use a fixed width. The only downside is that you have to get the pages, plans, and profiles set up before you choose that number. And if you have to change them, you have to change that number because the actual width of the window needs to be bigger than this page size. Let's look at the data window. The data window right now is starting at, well, this is page 2, so it's starting at 1250, but it's not going all the way to the end. There's no room. We could make the window bigger, that's an option, or we could make the point spacing smaller. Or make the point spacing bigger so there's fewer rows. Let's do the latter. Again, there's data window options here, or I can just double click. And I got the wrong one. Whoops. I clicked on shuffle front to back by mistake. Data window options. Currently it's using auto interval points, which kind of makes sense, but they're set at 10 meter spacing. So let's not use that one. Let's use auto interval points number 2. It says it's off. I can fix that by going into properties. Change it to be automatic and fix my size to say 20 meters. That should work. Now we're only going to show 20-meter rows, and that will fit in my my window. In fact, I could even make it a little bit smaller because my page is always going to have the same number of rows in it. I know they're all going to be looking like that. Finally, let's take a look at a section output. Again, I'm going to access the web library and pick this one, B-size cross-section. This will make a new chapter. So there's my new chapter. I could change it from B-size cross-section to something else if I wanted to. And let's look at the pagination for that. First of all, it does seem to be working. All those cross-sections are different. There's a lot of them. Let's take a look at the pagination. Use section. So what that means is that the pages don't have a fixed station width. They simply use the number of cross sections that fit on the page. In this case, 4. You can change that. There's options for changing how many cross sections fit on a page. If I select the cross section subview, then I can go into the various options and change that. For example, whoops, that's not it. There we are. There's my rows and columns. And here is a very important thing. Just like the data window, you can choose which points are displayed. I'm going to change it to only display auto interval points and culvert insertion points. So I'm going to get stations sections every 20 meters and culverts. I don't think I have any culverts, so we won't see any. That's going to change the number of pages, and you can see that here's 1 plus 800 down to 1 plus 860. And if I go to the next page, oops, I was way up here. Yeah, so there's 1000 to 1060, and the next page is 1080. So it's just adding 20 meters to each cross section, and it's not skipping any. That's all I wanted to say about MultiPlot pagination. Don't forget, one more quick thing, don't forget that you can always save your book layout or your chapter layout on your hard drive so you can reuse it. Save book layout, and I think there's a save chapter up here in the ribbon somewhere too. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.